Good evening, and it's Thursday night, not Tuesday night. I know y'all like, what's going on here? Well, we got some making up to do. Like literally, like it's kind of. I feel like in school all over again. Remember when you used to have a snow day and they're in school, and you had to do makeup days at the end of the year. You had to go to school extra days. I remember one time, right? School was supposed to end like June. I think it was June, like June 15th, 16th, 17th, somewhere around there. It ended up ending on June 28th, and it was a Friday. And guess what? It was my birthday, and I was so mad. You know what? It was the first and only time I ever bumped. Don't tell my friends. I'll be honest. I was 16 and I decided to bunk. I said it's the last day of school, June 28th. I was like, yeah, I'm out. Kids, don't bunk. I don't encourage bunking at all. But if you're gonna do it, let it be on your birthday, the last day of school. That's it. We have a wonderful show tonight. We have a wonderful show tonight, and this is the makeup show. The last time I had my two guests to come on, you couldn't hear them. And so we work really hard here at the Progress Channel. Myself, Ken, and especially Chris. Shout out to Chris. Chris is back, fresh from his vacation. He's right. He's doing it. Wings are flying. And guess what? He got the sound figured out. That's my boy right there. He said, listen, I need a breather. That's it. And he's back. But I got several things to talk about. But before I forget, I have today one person. Well, before I talk about her, let me talk about him. How about that? I have a mayoral candidate in Brett Smiley here tonight. He's running for the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm excited to talk to him. This is the third time he and I have tried to sit down and have a conversation, and tonight it is going to happen. Listen, he left the Open Doors fundraiser a little early to get here tonight. And you know what? That made my heart feel a little warm. Like literally, this ice pump kind of turned up from 3 degrees. We have Brett Smiley here, and I can't wait to have the conversation with him. And like I say, as every show, we are committed to bringing you guys local candidates that are vying for your position, vying for your vote in public office. We don't endorse candidates at all. However, we do bring you the information, and that is our commitment. But before I bring Brett out, there's someone else I have to bring out. Before I even talk about her, because I know once her and I get on here and talk about this, it's gonna be on and popping. That's the only way. It's gonna be literally that Chris Brown song. It's on and popping. Like serious. Kyle Rittenhouse. Let me talk about him. Chris, we got the image of Kyle Rittenhouse's testimony this week. Kyle Rittenhouse, for those of you who Kyle Rittenhouse have been talking from the past couple of shows, Kyle Rittenhouse decided to drive. His mother drove him from Illinois to Wisconsin in order to help with taming the riots after the shooting in Kenosha and of Jacob Blake. And Kyle's on trial right now. He's charged. He has 6 counts right now. He had 7. The 7th one got dismissed. I remember him smiling when the 7th one got dismissed. But then he gives his testimony, and he looks like he is constipated for the next 5 days. Look at this picture, everyone. Please, let's take a deep look at this picture. And for those of you who are about to say, Dion, leave the poor boy alone. He's 18 years old, and he decided at 17 years old he was going to go from Illinois, ask his mom to drive him from Illinois all the way to Wisconsin to help, to tame the riots. Mind you, he had a rifle, a dangerous rifle, at the age of 17. Mind you, I was 21 when I got my license, but yet this kid at 17 years old, for some strange reason, is walking around with a semi-automatic and was able to murder 2 people and injure another person. And he's trying to claim self-defense. Bull. Look at this picture right here. Look at the way he tried to cry. This this right here is the epitome of heterosexual white men in America. But let me just tell you guys and give y'all a message, white men in America. Your time is coming up. It's over. No longer are you going to be able to sit there and cry and think that people are going to be with you. The general public's not with you. And let me tell you something. These jurors and this judge on this trial need to make sure this is a fair and balanced trial, period. Period. And if you don't, let me tell you, unfortunately, if that does not happen, and before I bring Abe in, because I know Abe is ready, Abe's back there, she's sitting there shaking and going like this, and also starting like a church mother on Sunday. But I will say, if this is not a fair and balanced trial, Kenosha, Wisconsin, you can't be mad about the storm that's going to happen. So with all that said, I'm so happy because I have my friend. Listen, let me tell you something. I've known this woman so long. She's like auntie cousin to me, right? When I first started doing Coffee with D, she was right there on each and every live, commenting, talking. Her and I, we launched Wine and Things, which was, even though we did only 3 episodes, it was a lot of fun doing with it. And I hope her and we can get back to doing that again. But this person right here is not only a person that I have come to grow up to respect, I have grown to love and cherish. Period. And you know what? Can we do a favor? Can we please? We're scaring the audience now. Take that Kyle picture down, Chris. Like Halloween is over. But I'm so excited to have her here today. My friend, my family, Lietta Abe Briggs.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Yeah.
Nice to be back again.
Listen, I hope everybody can hear you
I know.
tonight.
Please chime in and let us know before we get, too deep into things and you guys miss some stuff. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Saying we can hear you out there tonight. Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I'm excited to sit down with you. But first of all, how are you doing, my love?
I'm all right. I'm all right. It's every day. I cannot complain. I wake up I'm blessed to have a job to go to every day and take care of my family, you know. My small business is doing pretty good for it to be a fresh startup. I like to call it a startup, and it's
Great.
going, but
So within this year, you have started a business,
mhm.
um, and and let me just say this: in my opinion, your son is one of my favorite local rappers. And I'm not just saying that because I watched him grow up. I'm saying that because I thoroughly enjoy him rap, and you support him and all this stuff. Like, so what was the inspiration in you creating your entire business, the entire product? Explain to the people what the product and the vision was, and then we're gonna get into the other stuff because I know you're irking to get into the other stuff, but I want you to
Oh
put that.
yeah. Well, I mean, the pandemic and being laid off from work for a few weeks kind of like it makes you think like how easy it is for your livelihood to be taken away from you when you rely on someone else to give you that livelihood. So, I mean, sitting at home. I mean, luckily I was able to go back to work, so that, grateful for that. So, I just the wheels started turning a little bit. I had to figure out like what, there's got to be, multiple streams of income. That's always been the key to make
Mhm.
sure that you at least stay afloat nowadays. You know what I mean? So like I started, looking around. I don't do hair. I don't do nails. I don't do I don't do that type of stuff that most women do. I cook for my family. I don't cook for strangers. Like that's just how it is. So I had to think about what I was gonna do for myself. And from in looking around and social media and such, I didn't see um a like body products and things like that. And I'm heavy on the toiletries. Like I'm a female. I love to smell good. I love to feel good. You know what I mean? So and I love for
Right?
my skin to feel good as well. Yeah,
So
you feel fresh
I'm a big
and
I'm a big fan of like body scrubs and exfoliants and things like that because like I like to exfoliate at least like once a week my face. But like
mhm.
I'm body scrub, so I gotta literally like I'm gonna hit you like literally I'm gonna send you like a little I need a little
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
not I think it's more because I need me a little
And I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure. I'll make sure. So, I mean, do my little research. I know someone who actually has a business, another woman of color who she's actually the genius behind my product. I do not make anything, but I stand behind it because I've already been using it for oh God, long time before I began to sell it myself. So I have to, I still put the work in. I have to cut the soap. I have to label. It's my logo, which is Body by Rain. That's that came from my daughter, Hannah Lay Rain, and so she's actually kind of been my inspiration because I would like to, if this thrives and does well, I would like for it to be for her when she gets older. She helps me label things and she helps me pick out names and colors and things like that. So, it was just pretty much trying to do something different and have another stream of income because you just never know. You just
you
never
know
ever know.
because I've been you keep saying streaming income and when I went to Indianapolis for the Powerhouse Habitation Conference, there was a pastor there who talked about having multiple streams of income,
Mhm.
and it's crazy. Like since I've been back, I myself I said, how can I literally create multiple streams of income simply because of the fact that if you sit down and think about it, if you have multiple streams of income, like if you have three, four, five streams of income. If one stream of income goes off, you still have the others to help you rely on and stay afloat while you find that main. You have that main income, and you might have a couple of side.
Yes. Yes.
But what? That's always been the story of the black and brown people. We got to have our
Mhm.
main. We got to have our side hustle. You know what I
Got
mean?
to. You have to. You got to put that hustler's hat on, you know what I mean? Because nothing is going to be handed to you. Things are going to be taken away from you, but nothing's going to be handed to you. So you got to make sure you protect your own.
So we got a few minutes before we go to commercial. I want to get your opinion on something. Chris, can we get that picture back? Kyle Rittenhouse.
Mm-mm.
I remember a year ago. I remember a year ago when everything happened, and I was on Coffee with D, and then we did wine and things, and you and I had this entire conversation about this gentleman. Uh, I can't say gentleman. This boy, this
This
person,
boy. This
walking.
legal adult. We're going to call him a legal adult because I don't want to call him a boy because then it's going to look like we're being a bully. And I'm not a bully. So we're going to call him a legal adult
Legal
because he's
adult.
definitely not a gentleman. That's for damn sure. So, this legal adult.
Legal adult. You know what? I will stand with you on that. He's a legal adult. We won't call him boy, but yet I remember talking with you how he walked, how he got to Kenosha. First, his mother drove him, right? And I'm putting the picture up there for a reason because I know we're gonna talk about this. His mother, his mother drove him from Illinois to Wisconsin, right? He walked through the crowd with a rifle, military grade,
Mm-hmm.
and killed two people and injured
Injuring a
another.
third.
The third person
Mm-hmm.
had a gun, but my thing is like this: I believe that person pulled out a gun because he had a weapon. So
Yeah.
to be honest with you, that third person, that's self defense,
Yeah.
in my opinion, right?
Yeah. I'd agree.
So now we're here a year later, Abe, right? And now we have this trial. The judge is really not allowing for a fair and balance. There's only one person of color on the jury, right?
Which
And
is
then
absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh my God.
hold on, I just want to give you all the facts before you just go because I know you're about to go in, right? Not only that, now, mind you, he had 7 charges originally. The seventh charge gets dropped, and when it got dropped, which was the curfew charge, he smiled and smirked, and then he gives his testimony, and we get this.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, Abe, go.
So when I saw this, like I was like, this can't be like I thought it was like how they do like the parody shows. I'm like, there's no way this could be a parody this quick. You know what I'm like what I'm seeing right now, this can't be real. I would have rather him just sit up there and just be stone faced with no emotion than for that bullshit, excuse my French, right there. You know what I mean? It's insulting. And then he had the nerve to look over, kind of peek over at the jury, like, you see me, I'm crying, I have emotion, like, I just want to make sure you're looking at me, before he turns completely red,
He didn't even
because you
look
can
like he
see
was
he
crying.
looks
He
like
looked like
he's
he
getting
needed
ready
a
to
laxative.
explode. He looks like he's getting ready to explode. I don't know, like, Dion, I know you're a lot younger than I am, but there was a movie out years ago called Scanners, and like these people would like read your mind and poof, your head would explode. That's what it looked like was gonna happen. I'm just like, what is happening with this kid? Like, excuse me, legal adult, not the kid.
Let me ask you this, because you're a mom, right?
My son's older than him, so
right.
that's
Your
why
son's
I look
older.
at him
Let
like a
me
kid.
let me ask you a question. Would you drive your son? Would you drive your son?
Are you are you asking me that as who I am as a mom, or as someone else's mom?
I'm asking who you are as a mom. Would you drive your child from one state to the next state to?
Absolutely not.
I'm
Absolutely
sorry.
not. No. No, that mom did her son a terrible disservice by doing that. You know what I mean? She did her son a terrible, terrible disservice by doing that. And I don't even understand how she can sleep at night, knowing that you're the reason your son is in this mess that he's in right now. Listen, I don't know what type of stuff he fed her to get her to bring him across state lines with an assault rifle to help protect people. You were 17 years old. You should have had your behind in the bed. You didn't need to be out driving nowhere. And mom knows better. Or were you afraid of him? Was he threatening you? Because I have to
Mom was
understand.
back. You should have had your behind in the bed. And on that note, Kyle, you should have had your behind in the bed instead of going to Kenosha to protect people. And we have to go to commercial. When we come back, we will have mayoral candidate for the city of Providence, Brett Smiley.
Kikipedia, your online guide to LGBTQ plus bars, clubs, and events. Find all the tea on your local gay bars. Home of the internet's most comprehensive digital drag show and virtual event guide. Visit kikipedia.app or dragstreams.com now!
Hello, everyone, and we're back. That was a great conversation. That's my quote of the week. Kyle, you should have had 17. You should have had your behind in the bed instead of trying to protect people. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at that one. That was funny. That was funny. That was funny. But well, I'm so excited because we get to continue our mayoral series here at the Progress Channel. And tonight we have another candidate who is running and looking for your vote to be mayor of the city of Providence, the capital city of Rhode Island, the city which born and bred me, the city in which I was raised, the city in which I come from. Yes, Southside, Washington Park all day, Flush Hill. Let's do it. I'm excited though to bring Brett Smiley to here tonight to have a conversation about why he should be your next mayor. So without further ado, Brett Smiley.
Hey,
How you
Dion.
doing, Brett?
Good. How you doing?
That's good. That's good. That's good. How have you enjoyed the show yourself so far?
That's great. And I was happy to come back.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Let me just say, I apologize about last time. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for, you left early from the Open Doors Health fundraiser tonight to get me here.
Yeah, and I was happy to do it. I've been looking forward to this.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want everybody to know he missed dinner, by the way. Y'all know I'm.
I didn't take it to go.
You said you didn't take it to go?
I didn't take it to go.
Listen. See, that's why you got to have the proper campaign staff that would say, no, we're taking this to go. No.
Most people I've ever known have lost weight when they run for office. This is why.
Yeah, that exactly. You don't have time to eat. Even, the campaigns that I've worked on in my past, I'm like, wow, I would go 12 hours and like, I didn't even have a chip. You know what I mean?
I have I keep a box of Cliff Bars in the back of my campaign car, and because that's all there is sometimes.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Even, I myself, I work early in the morning. Sometimes it's just a Cliff Bar.
Yeah. I'm
But
one
it's
of those people that gets a little hangry sometimes too. So that's like hangriness and trying to run for office, bad
well,
combo.
chocolate usually help with hangriness. I realize chocolate usually helps with hangriness.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Brett, let's get right into it. Why do you think you are the best choice for mayor of Providence?
I've listened to several episodes of your show, and I don't need to tell you what a special place Providence is. I know you know that, and I know that too. This city is like such a special and unique place in the country, and over the last couple of years, through various meaningful opportunities at public service, I've seen the power that good public servants can have in improving the lives of others. And so, from whether it's improving the quality of our schools, um, uh, improving the quality of life in our neighborhoods, things that I hear, from the simple complaints about streets and sidewalks to, much more complicated complaints around the effects of poverty and the current housing crisis and all of these strains that are facing families in our city. City government and our mayor has a real ability to make those situations better. And after serving as the city's first chief operating officer, the governor's chief of staff, the state director of administration, I think that my experience, it positions me well and is different than the other people seeking this office that will help me be effective and build a team to be effective from day one. And that's why I think I'm the best choice going forward and why I'm running.
So, um, basically here in Providence, education and specifically the failed state takeover of Providence, and I mean we can say failed or and it depends on I think in whoever's looking at it. Um, we have had long conversations with many Providence residents, and one of the most common factors is those conversations is the appointed school board. Providence schools are broken and needs to be fixed. Would an elected school board be a true representation of the of the people, and of our communities?
Potentially, but there's some risks as well. I think at the root of that, which I've heard plenty from parents in every neighborhood in the city with kids at all levels, is that they don't feel well represented and they don't feel like they have a voice. And so, I think we should start with trying to solve that problem, and then the challenge with an elected school board. And I saw some of this firsthand when I was Governor Raimondo's chief of staff, and then the state director of administration. It was through the early part of the COVID crisis. I left state government in March, so right as we started vaccinating folks, and it was through that entire school year, the previous school year. And Governor Raimondo and I, and the whole team were really working hard to try to get kids in class, in school. We thought the risk of being out of school was huge. The social and emotional toll that it took on students, the strain that it put on families, particularly in Providence, where you have parents that have jobs that they are not teleworking. They're not on a laptop in the living room. They have to go to work to earn a wage, and if they don't go to work, they don't get paid. And so we had kids that are their big siblings were making sure they kind of got through the distance learning. You had students who were learning on mom's iPhone, and it just wasn't right. So what we saw in that process was elected school boards that were influenced by local politics and sometimes some crazy national politics, and we're fighting in-person school. We're fighting some of the other what we thought were safe and frankly balanced risks. And so I don't think an elected school board in and of itself is a solution. The other thing that's a real concern of mine is, I say this as someone who's running for office, it costs money to run for office. And there's a
I
real
mean,
risk,
true,
I
but I
think,
mean,
that you're going to get.
Brett, wouldn't you say like at least like maybe we do some type of hybrid? You have some elected school board or versus some people elected, some people appointed. I mean, at some point the
Right.
community also has to have a voice in the process. And unfortunately, too many times we find with appointed school board, and even myself, I find when appointed a school board, they're at the will of the mayor and not the will of the people.
Yeah. I think a hybrid is something worth exploring. The other thing that I think is worth exploring is putting some criteria around
Mm-hmm.
the slots on an appointed school board. So someone has to be a parent. Somebody has to have credentials in elementary education. Someone has to know something about facilities and budgets, so that we can so that it protects against the kind of just political appointments, but actual kind of representative spots for uh, kind of upgrading the school board, if you will. And there's also a ton of space in an appointed school board for a public process, for community input, for parental input, for student representation, either as an appointee or through the vetting process for appointees. And so I'm not sold on an elected school board, but I do hear loud and clear from parents that they don't feel well represented by many members of the school board. And so obviously we need to make some changes. But I think if we make this something that you have to run for election on, it is going to skew towards people who can afford to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to have the risk to lack proper representation and diversification because of the how hard it is to run citywide in our city, the money and time that it takes. I'm not sure that it's going to have the desired result.
Would you say that the city council, like something as Providence City Council, is not a true representation of our community because of the fact that it costs money in order to run? I,
It's,
I think we have
I
a
mean,
very
that's a concern that all campaigns are getting kind of absurdly expensive. But the thing about city council, and maybe this is part of this blend that you raise, is that it's ward based. So, we just saw I live over on Hope Street. We just saw a special election over here for a state Senate seat that was like insanely expensive. And then we see other council races in other parts of the city where, regular people can run. It doesn't cost a ton of money. People run after hours, like true community representation. So, the benefit to the council setup is that it's neighborhood based. And so maybe that's a part of the puzzle too.
Okay. Recently in an Uprise interview, you were asked about Leah Board, and for those of you who don't know what Leah Board is, the Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights. Where do you stand on Leah Board? Reform or repeal?
I think reform.
Why?
This law is severely outdated. It was written well before cell phones were ubiquitous, and it has made it hard for communities to feel that law enforcement is properly held accountable, and the level of secrecy that it instills upon the process is not helpful for community trust. But it's also, outdated for today's world because, what ends up happening is we have, I don't know, a dozen cell phone videos, released instantaneously. And it ties the hands of uh, the department leadership, the mayor, about what we can say about an incident. And all that does is add anxiety and suspicion and fear to a situation while people are trying to piece together what actually happened from all of these firsthand accounts. And so I think that that's a real problem. Similar to our conversation we just had on the school board conversation, I think that there is a role for and a place for community representation on the arbitration panels. Right now it's management and labor, and that's it.
So wait. I just want to go back. So okay, you said why reform, but like then why not repeal? Because my thing is like this: if Derek Chauvin was tried in Rhode Island, he would have went 6 months with pay. He would have still gotten paid. So under the current Leobor Act, and for me to be honest with you, and I'll be honest, I'm a total real repeal person. So when I hear people talk about reform, and we're looking at what's going around the country, where Black men, Black trans women, where Black people, Black and brown people are not treated fairly by police officers, and it's time and time again, not just on cell phone videos, it's also on the police cams. We see it. Why are we not here in Rhode Island, as progressive as we say we are, talking about repeal, and why are we afraid of repeal? So why not repeal?
There was a whole process that went through last year to make recommendations. I think that we have the real chance to actually pass and achieve reform and do better than what we're doing now. I don't think that repeal is possible in the current legislative environment. I just don't think the votes are there for it. And I think that the way in which you build support for and consensus around change is through these processes which have taken place, and the right next step is reform.
But I'm saying, why not you wanting to be mayor of a city that is diverse, that has a makeup of a lot of brown and Black people? Why are you not supporting repeal versus reform? That's I mean, I understand why it's not viable to happen, but like, I think if someone who's running for a major office, and especially for the city of Providence, if they stand up and say repeal versus reform, because everybody's talking about reform, nobody's talking about repeal this bill that does not hold police officers accountable at all.
So there's a balance in my mind between the kind of productive relationship that a mayor needs to have with public safety personnel and any other members of city employment, by the way. And I think what is both possible, useful, but would not totally destroy a constructive relationship between the mayor and the police department is reform. And that's what I would advocate for.
All right, with that, we got to go to commercial. We're going to come back and we're going to have a good conversation with Abe, myself, and Brett in just one moment. But guys, refresh your drinks, get some water. I know I do need to get some water. My mouth is a little dry doing all this talking for the past, 30 minutes or so. But we'll be right back after these messages.
Brian Sims, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I think every day about the values that my Army officer parents instilled in me, to take responsibility, to show empathy, to have courage, and to be authentic. I want to put those values to the direct service of the Commonwealth. I have a lot of hope when I look at the people across the country that decided over these last number of years that they'd had enough, that they looked at a lack of leadership and thought that they could do better, because oftentimes they're right. We are the antidote to broken politics. My time in the Pennsylvania legislature has taught me a lot about not only how Pennsylvania government works, but a lot about how it doesn't. It's taught me a lot about how to work with people who don't always agree with me. I think it's time for me to take what I've learned in the House and to be able to bring that leadership to the direct service of the governor. I want to be your next lieutenant governor. We need adults in the room, and I want to bring bold, visionary leadership based on lived experiences and shared values to the Commonwealth.
Hello, and we're back, and welcome to the Twilight Zone, also known as the Progress Channel, or the Progress. No, I'm joking, everyone. I've been having a wonderful conversation tonight. I have one of my good friends here, someone I consider family. That is family, to be honest with you. Lietta A. Briggs is here, and then also running for mayor of Providence, Brett Smiley. I'm so excited, and we're gonna have a quick conversation. Bring two other people back who love the city, love the state, to have the conversation about our wonderful city of Providence. So, welcome back, Abe and Brett.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. So, let's talk about Providence, and I'm gonna ask both of you, what is your favorite place in Providence and why? We'll start with Brett. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah. Nick's on Broadway. It's a restaurant on Broadway. It's got a special place in my heart forever because that's where my husband proposed to me. And I mean, we go back all the time, but it will always be a particularly special place because of that.
Wonderful.
We like romantic proposals over here at the Progress Channel.
That's right.
Someone gave me a romantic proposal, so whoever's out there, if you're out there. Nick's is good. You know, I've never been to Nick's. I've never been to Nick's, so I don't know. You know, Brett, you know, every mayor candidate that's been on, you know, they've invited me to dinner at their favorite place. So I don't know if you want to do that.
I'd be happy to take you to Nick's. They've got a great brunch and a great dinner. You choose.
Only if I can come too. I've never been.
Oh,
You've never
great.
No.
Let's make it a date. Let's
Sounds
make
like
it a date.
All three of us. Let's go do it.
So, okay. So, what would you recommend to people, Brett, about Nick's? What would you recommend your favorite?
So I eat a lot of seafood, and they get only local fish. It's all kind of like local farmers and stuff, and so it's whatever's in season. I had swordfish last time I was there; it was great, and their dessert is like spectacular. This summer they were making. You remember those?
I make a good swordfish.
I like those hood ice cream sandwiches you had when you were a kid. The vanilla ice cream with the chocolate wafers. So they were making their own this summer. They were incredible. Like nothing fancy, chocolate wafer, homemade vanilla ice cream, perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds good too.
I like it old fashioned. That was my favorite. You know what? Ice cream sandwich was my favorite. You remember in school, they used to have the ice cream. You go in line after you had your lunch and you go in line and you get the ice cream. In my time, it was 50 cents. You know, yeah, it was 50 cents in my time. Now I think it's probably like $1.50 now.
Oh yeah.
You know, but Abe, what's your favorite place in the city?
Indian Point Park. It just
yeah,
it's I remember like my mom taking me there when I was little. You know what I mean? Just to, you know, do whatever, hang out. We'd get ice cream and go sit over there, and you know, she would get ice cream from Newport Creamery, and we would go to Indian Point Park and we'd eat it there. And it just reminds me of like warm weather. You know, I even go over there sometime when it's not so warm out, and you know, I like to look at the water and stuff like that. I take my daughter over there all the time, and she's into flying kites and stuff, so that's kind of one of the good places to do so. And But I don't know. It's always on a nice day. Josh is like my husband. What do you want to do? Well, let's take a ride, and we end up at Indian Point Park. So it's just it's
Shout out
home
to
to me.
Josh. So he's watching. I know Josh is watching. So shout out to Josh.
He's
Hey,
upstairs.
Josh. Hey, Josh. I know the Cowboys lost this week, but brother, we're still good. All right, we're still good.
So
How about them
sad.
Cowboys?
Yeah,
Right?
we're good.
Hey,
We're good. But that
we're good.
was a
We're good. No,
miserable
I think
loss.
and I'm gonna say this. I think the Cowboys needed that loss this week in order to move forward. You know,
Okay. All right. Yeah, we had to get humbled a little bit. Okay.
a little, a little bit. You know, Cowboys, our head gets too big and then we can't fit through a door.
Yep. Yep.
Um, So my favorite place, to be honest with you, I love being down city in Providence, simply because of the fact I feel like you get all of Providence in down city.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm talking about when you are down by Kennedy Plaza, by City Hall, walking down Washington Street, Westminster, Way Bassett, Dorrance, in that area right there. I feel like you just get all of the city, like the different type of people, but not just the different type of people, people from different backgrounds and all that stuff, but also there's so much diversity now with
Hmm.
the multiple restaurants that are opening downtown, and
Yeah.
and and I mean, where else can you get fried catfish and pulled pork fries on the same block?
Mm. I know, huh?
I look at it. Um, if you could wave a magic wand and tomorrow we would wake up and one thing would be different about Providence, what would it be? We'll go with you, Abe, first.
Oh boy. All the construction would be done. All the construction on the highway would be done. I'm sorry. I gotta drive that Six Flags ride every single day, back and to work and back home again every single day. And I just want it to be done. I know it takes time because I'm the first one to complain about potholes and such, and I understand we do need better infrastructure here in Rhode Island. But man, it's pretty dangerous and scary.
Listen, the
And a
worst
lot of
part
drivers
about it,
treat it
the
like
worst,
Fast
no,
and
the
Furious.
worst part about it is, like I said, exit 18, Third Miss Avenue exit is the worst on ramp to go north
It's
in the
horrible.
entire,
It's
like
horrible.
literally, it's terrible. First of all, you got to get on the on ramp, and then when you get on the on ramp, if you're staying on 95, you got to try to get 2 lanes over so you're not in the 195, and then you got that one jack butt that's coming in the fast lane, but they got to get on 195 to go to East Providence, and like, yo, I sit in the car and I don't drive, y'all, but I'm in the passenger seat and I swear I got the brake in the passenger seat just hitting it. And it's not anything the person that I'm driving was doing, it's what the other idiots are doing out there. Sorry. Rhode Island, we still have the worst drivers in the world.
I touched the
Brett,
nerve with the
if
traffic.
you could take magic wand and fix one thing.
You know, this is obviously as a candidate for mayor. If I could wave a magic wand, I would solve our pension problem, fill it up, resolve it. And I've knocked on thousands of doors, and less than 10 people have asked me about the pension. But what they ask me about are the schools, the potholes, the investments that they want to see, and social supports for people struggling, affordable housing, support for those struggling with addiction. All that stuff costs money. And the reason we don't have money is because of our pension. And so if I could wave a magic wand and just solve that pension, which is really the, sins of the past, mistakes made by others, so as an example, the pension payment this year is just over $100 million.
Mm.
$10 million is like the normal, what they call the normal cost, the cost of our current employees and their future benefits. $90 million is just like paying down the credit card debt that Buddy Cianci ran up. And so if we fully funded our pension with a magic wand, we would have $90 million extra every year that we could have great debates over what we spend it on. But it would all be new money going to things to meet the needs of our citizens. And so that's what I would do with a magic wand.
So let me ask this, because this pension I've been working in politics now, working with candidates now 10 years, consistently, and this pension just keeps coming up. Every time you hear it just keeps coming up every election cycle. So Brett, now you don't have the magic wand. You're mayor of
Indeed, we
Providence.
don't.
It's your first step in solving the pension problem, right?
Yeah.
Solving it so the city saves money, but also solving it so those people that we made promises to,
Right.
the
Right.
retirement. What would your first step be as mayor? What would your first?
Yeah, you're right. So you're absolutely right. The only way to actually just fix it is in fact a magic wand, right? So everything else is an imperfect choice. My first step is I think that Providence should get out of the local pension business. I think we should close the local pension fund. That doesn't mean no pensions. That just means that we shouldn't run our own fund and get into the state system. The state system is bigger, more well funded, more stable. We pay our own city pays its own investment advisors, its own lawyers, its own accountants, its own everything to get all the same advice that the state's getting. And a bunch of other little cities and towns that have their own pension funds also. Like there's no reason for this. We would save money, and the retirees, who you're right, we made a promise to them. Like they didn't do anything wrong. It's past city leaders who didn't make the payments. They did their part. Their deduction still came out of their paycheck. And so I would get us, the first thing I would do is get out of the local pension business and negotiate our way into the state system.
So I got another question. I got a question for you that I asked Gonzalo Cuervo, and it's not about the pension. It's also about the education system because a former educator, and my heart's always with education. I'm always about educating people and educating my audience, things like that. So I'm not sure what the time frame is, but say you're mayor and you get the school system back from the state. Right now we have an acting superintendent in Dr. Montanez, who when he had gotten the interim position as superintendent, not only did he get praise from his colleagues, he also got praise from teachers, he got praise from parents, and he got praise from many former students from around the city and even current students as well. And Dr. Montanez was a teacher in the Providence school system, a principal in the Providence school system, now administrator in the Providence school system, and he himself even came up in the inner city education as well. And I know Dr. Montanez personally. He's a personal friend of the family. And I'm not asking this question for his job safety or anything like that, but do you think that we need to, for many years we have seen superintendents of school come outside of the state, come from different districts and things like that. Do you think that that time could be over for Providence when it comes to education, and we need to really start looking inward and trying to find people? Or do you still would you as a mayor still do a national hiring process?
So I think somebody who knows Providence, who knows our kids, who knows our families is a great asset, and that's a bonus, and is more attractive than someone who doesn't understand our families and our students. And so I'm not wed to or committed to like a national search. What I think has been one of the major significant challenges in Providence in the schools is the constant turnover. And so probably most important to me is some continuity. It's been every couple of years we get a new superintendent, sometimes because they go on to a bigger job somewhere else, sometimes because they get ousted for maybe legitimate reasons. But students, parents, teachers, they all need some continuity. They feel like they've got whiplash. They feel like the changes come too fast. We never fully implement anything. We just get started on something, then someone new comes in. We have a new curriculum, a new theory for change, a new set of consultants, and then on and on and on it goes. And we never actually finish any of these plans. And so what I'm particularly interested in is some continuity and actually charting a course and then staying on it. And so if that's Dr. Montanez, I think people seem to be really excited about the power of example that he's leading and the level of stability that he's provided. I've heard that feedback from teachers and parents and other administrators. But I think anytime we can find a local person who really understands and can empathize with our students and families, that's a bonus.
You're right. The last time we actually
Absolutely.
had a local be superintendent was Dr. Alvin Zarella. And that was back when I was in school and probably as well as when Abe was in school. Dr. Zarella came from
Oh
Providence,
yeah.
was
Hmm.
Providence, principal in Providence. And since then, we've had Dion Alam, Melly Johnson, Tom Brady, there was
Donnie Evans,
Evan. We had,
Sue Lucy.
we're talking
It's like,
about 20
yeah,
years. It's been like
you
this
forget the
constant
names. There's so
turnover
many. Yeah,
constantly with
That's way too
superintendent.
much inconsistency to keep things the way they're supposed to be. That's way too much inconsistency in the school system, in an already hurt school system.
yeah.
You
Right.
know, like I mean,
You know
I
how it is. They
grew
come
up in
in,
a
they do
Providence
the
school
like,
system.
they do their listening tour, their fact finding thing, then they roll
Hmm.
out their strategy for change, then they get into like year one of implementation, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And they go write their book, they get published, or they write a
Yeah, or they go
dissertation.
on to a bigger city or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. And,
And then
and
meanwhile, everything that they was supposed to implement never happened because it never even got a chance to get off the ground.
that's
And
right.
now here
you
comes
know,
someone new changing it.
it's crazy because I used to say all the time, I think one of the biggest problems in education is like you have said, that turnover and not having someone stable because of the fact that when you do in education and anytime myself as a teacher, when I did a lesson, I would always look at the lesson and I would say, what were the pros and cons of this lesson? What did the students get out of it? What did they learn from it? And what can I take out so I can modify it for the next time that I teach that lesson? Or I can modify it so I can fix the holes that I put in it. The issue is when we continually have that turnover with superintendent or an administrator, is that when they sit there and say, well, I've come up with the plan, I've came up with this, but you know what? There's something bigger and better. And you know what? And I'm going to say this, I think a lot of times it's the politics behind the position. I
Hmm.
think a lot of times it's politics behind the position. But we
Yeah.
do have to go to final thoughts. We have to switch gears. Normally we go to commercial for final thoughts, but tonight we're not going to commercial for final thoughts. I'm going to be the quick commercial for the Progress Channel, quick, and then we'll go right to final thoughts. So we have two shows next week again. Okay, two shows next week again. And for you guys, this is Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, New Year's, and all that stuff. You get me 2 weeks in a row, twice in a week. No, I'm joking. On Tuesday, we have gubernatorial candidate Matt Brown and Rhode Island political collaborative organizer, my queen, Jennifer Roque. And also on Thursday, we have Providence mayoral candidate Gonzalo Cuevo and BLM Rhode Island executive director Harrison Tuttle, my son, AKA Harrison Sage. That's what I call him. So I'm excited about those conversations coming up next week, just as I was this conversation. And remember, make sure you guys like, you share, you comment as
Mhm.
well. Put it out there. Tag a friend that lives in the city of Providence so they can hear. And thank you. So and before I go, thank you, Abe. Thank you, Brett. But also, we want to salute all of the veterans here at the Progress Channel. We want to salute all the veterans that have served this country in any capacity, period. And also, we want to send a special shout out to our producer and our executive producer and president of the Progress Channel Company, Ken Barber, who served our country as a veteran. And we thank Ken Barber for his service. We salute Ken Barber. Thank you so much. We love you, Ken. We love you.
Mhm.
With all that said, guys, all good things have to come to an end.
I'm
And I
sad.
have unfortunately to say goodbye for now to both Brett and Abe. Again, make sure you guys like, share, and tweet. And also, so we do these final thoughts. You guys get 60 seconds to give your final thought of today. And we're going to start with Brett, and then we're going to go with Abe, and then I'll wrap it up with final thoughts. And again, thank you guys for being here. So, Brett, your final thought for today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm so glad this happened. I look forward to coming back. What you're doing, and this is my final thought, is I think that there is no office that impacts the daily lives of us more than city government.
Mhm.
And it's not always sexy or glamorous, but it's actually what gets your kids to school, your streets paved, the snow plowed, and so educate yourself, get registered, stay informed, and get to know all of us through this process. We've got good candidates running this year. I'm proud to be one of them. I hope to earn your vote, but I hope that everyone gets involved and gets engaged because this stuff really matters.
Thank you, Brett. Ave.
My final thought. Well, thank you for having me, Brett. It was wonderful to get to hear you speak finally. And good luck in the race. Patience. That's my final thought. We all need to practice patience and positivity because like I feel like in this very fast-paced world that we live in, we run out of patience very shortly. We often get very negative and very nasty. So, it's I'm guilty. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not because I have my days. But my thing is now what I've been trying to share with myself daily and share with others close to me, like only worry about the things you can control. If it's out of your hands, do what you can. But then when that's done, you got to move on. Don't drain your energy giving someone else or something else energy. Use that energy to build yourself up and keep your patience and keep your positivity. Keep that aura right because Lord knows I sage my house and it'll know you ain't supposed to be in here. So keep that energy right. Keep that positive energy right. Keep that patience right. Love your neighbors as much as they'll let you because I feel like we've grown into this world where we don't even know our neighbors anymore. You know what I mean? So as much as they'll let you, love your neighbors, and stay positive. That's my final thought.
Yes. Again, thank you, Abe. Thank you, Brett. This was a wonderful conversation, and thank you guys again for thank you guys for rescheduling and taking time out of your busy schedules to come and sit down.
Absolutely.
My
Anytime.
my final thought for tonight is just this simple. It's there's a lot going on right now in our country. There's a lot going on in our world. There's a lot going on locally. And Brad said, let's get involved. And when we get involved, and I'm going to echo the words of both my guests tonight, get involved, but also be patient when you get involved. Because sometimes I think we look for instant results. We live in a society now where information is at our fingertips. We live in a society where we can just Google everything and we get the entire thing there and we look for instant, quick results. One of my favorite things to make is collard greens. Let me tell you about collard greens. You get your fresh greens, you gotta clean them, wash them overnight, and let the dirt come out of them. You gotta rinse them again. And before you even put them in the pot to boil, you gotta either put your pork, smoked pork in it, or your turkey in it. You might want to put some onions and green peppers and things like that in it as well. But then you put the greens in, and you gotta allow the greens to cook all day, not too high, because they cook too fast, they're not gonna come out right. You gotta allow them to cook a long time. It is a process, and what we have to understand that in life, in everything we do, whether we're voting, whether we're working, whether we're moving forward, whatever we're doing, it is a process, and we have to trust the process. So that way, when the greens come out and they're done, they are tender, tasty, and flavorful. So let's take a lesson today from the kitchen. Let's take a lesson of if we cook things too fast, if we look for instant results, lean pockets, hot pockets, Hungry Man, TV dinner. That's not satisfying. But when we allow ourselves to cook like grandma used to cook and take the time and patience in our lives and do everything in our lives that way. I know some of y'all getting hungry. I'm getting hungry. It's a metaphor. Take the time to allow things to season and marinate in our lives. Even when it comes to politics, real change can happen. So with all that said tonight, y'all enjoy yourself. I'll see y'all Tuesday. But you know what Dion's gonna do? Dion is gonna go get some rest. Okay, that's what I'm gonna go do because y'all got a brother tired. No, I love doing this video. But I will see you guys today. Can't wait. Everybody have a wonderful night. And remember, if you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. Peace.